Great. Okay, so tell that story again.
Well, I'd say one of the field station has evolved quite a bit since I first started. And my first year up there, we had a wooden bridge, a wooden stringer bridge that we had a delivery truck go across it and break the bridge and almost fell in the river. So one of my first jobs was to tear that bridge down and then put another bridge in that with the help of Jim Kelly and local construction workers, they helped with equipment and we put a railroad car bridge in that you see today. So, I had other things like we had the best water. It was spring fed. It would pass all the tests as some of the cleanest water, and it dried up the next year from a La Nina drought. So the place has had these, struggles, but it was a labor of love. I stayed there for 25 years. It was the one of the most beautiful places, the most diverse places, and we were able to bring up some of the best people in different fields. And probably the only limitation for me was that when I first started, they were just allowing classes that were worth units, and they were worth in the biology department. And that wasn't going to bring in enough students to make the place viable. So I brought in workshops and I brought art classes and journalism classes. And the idea is to immerse people in the environment. And you can do that by studying it as a butterfly expert, or you can do it by being an artist and just looking at things and thinking about it. And often it became a beautiful two-way synergy where people that did art classes would say, "Oh wow, I wonder why this happens or why this is," and then they would seek out some of the other classes. And I was fortunate to bring out some of the top. We already had Harry Tiers, who was a world legend as in terms of a mycologist, a mushroom person. And he's had a tremendous amount of people coming, like our own Brian Perry evolved from him. But we had Paul Oppler, who was probably North America's best butterfly expert. Joe Swezak, one of the best bat experts. So we drew in some of these great people that, for me, it was like it was learning more and more by some of the top people in one of the most beautiful places. And the thing to see that place do anything but succeed and expand, it would be a tragedy. It's the best way for people to understand the environment.
Great. Uh, you also were involved in, by necessity as much as choice, probably, with getting engaged with the local community. Can you talk about the importance of that aspect of your
Oh,
career?
you know, the community often thought we were very separate, but they were very important. As I said, I had people volunteer to help me put a new bridge in. If I needed something, they would drop everything and come to us first. And one of the ways that evolved, I started a star party where at the end of our astronomy class, people put their telescopes up on the top of Bayou the Sierra Buttes, and we invited everybody. And so you have, a few hundred people come and look and say, "Wow, I've learned more in one night than I ever learned about astronomy." Then you had tremendous dark skies. We did a thing with the mushroom people. They put out the local bar let us use all their tables and put all our mushrooms out and label them. And so the end of that class taught everybody and invited all the locals to come. We did things for the local school groups, and we did. I worked with the Forest Service, so I was doing some research on the mountain meadow systems, and they would come up and watch this bird band, and you let them hold the birds, and they were just, "Oh, you guys are great." And we helped bring in money for them to restore a whole meadow system. So, the place evolved as a place that was part of the community that people really admired and appreciated, and we just had a great connection.
Absolutely. Um, what what's your vision of the future for the field campus, if you have one?
I just, pray that it continues, that, budget cuts don't hurt us. I think because it brings in so many students right now, that's a plus because the university really wants us to be student oriented. Um, what we need to evolve is we need a better bridge. The one we put in is a little too narrow, And so we'd like to build a bridge that could bring plenty of equipment over. So we could build one more building that would be a better classroom, so it wouldn't be so tough. Um, and those two things would just allow the place to expand. People that follow me, I know, brought in more art classes, so that's really expanded. And um, just keep on doing what we're doing. And people that are there just say, "Oh, this is a." Bill Cohn say he came up and took an astronomy class. He said, Jim, could I ever bring an art class up here? And I said, well, let me see your work. And then I didn't realize that he worked for Pixar, and he showed me his work. I said, yeah, please do come here. So, and he just has an amazing class, and several other people that are just great artists brought up the same thing. So it's once they're there, they say, God, there's so much beauty, so much diversity. How can I add to this? And that's what they've been doing. So
Fantastic. So we have to keep this somewhat short in terms of the recorded session, but sort of what's your do you have any last thoughts on this whole process of trying to pull this community together and raise funds essentially to do just exactly what you were talking about?
I just hope everybody here talks to other people, say help donate to this place, or if they know someone who helps write grants or anything to keep supporting this place. It's very unusual. A lot of the field stations that were around have switched to alumni camps because that would make money for the university. And I was approached to do that. And I said, there's no way, my whole reason for working my ass off here to make this work is to make it a place where people see the environment, understand the environment, and learn. I'm not here to make a fun family camp. Those are nice, but that's not what I thought our mission should be.
Thanks a lot, Jim. And I'll just say I had a great pleasure of meeting with you every now and then during that time. Maybe one last thing. Can you talk a little bit about the formation of the Friends of the Sierra Nevada Field Campus? What motivated that?
It's just as I was retiring, I just felt like, we could always use some help. And the more people were in support of the place, the more the university would feel obligated to maintain that support. And so I just called some of the people that I knew that loved being up there: Bill Wilson, Mary Abbott, Diane, I'm spacing her last name, but people were saying, yeah, let's do that. And so we've just kept going, and out of love, we just think this is such a great place to be.
I'll second that. Okay, Jim. Well, I'm gonna stop the recording, and I just can't thank you enough for everything
All
you've
right.
done.
I wish I could be there, but I have family matters here in Boston. So
Totally understand. Totally
all right.
understand.